on the bottom.
Okay, and that orange handle down there is if I overshoot and put too much pressure in
Right.
when I'm loading up to the 7 to 9 pounds or the 17 pounds on the other one. I
Right.
can release pressure out of the tanks by rotating those orange valves down there.
Right, that one there. You'd have to get a hose because it's just going to dump out on the floor if you don't have the hose.
Okay.
So that's for the first floor. Second floor, it's tucked, because each system is separate. This is the one for second floor.
Okay.
And if you open this, it would drain water out, which will bring the pressure down. And you can get it back to where you want it. So that's only if you happen to overshoot.
Okay.
The tanks are marked. You tell them.
Yeah. Each has a like an overflow tank, and that's just as when the season starts and it's at 7 to 10, say, well, that the water temperature is maybe 100, but when it gets to be January and it's 20 below outside, the water temperature is probably up to 150. And so the volume at 100 degrees versus the volume at 150 is going to be considerably. And this is what makes up that difference, where it has an expansion tank.
So I've got a question, because at one point my understanding was that there's always going to be some water in those tanks.
Right.
Being that it's an expansion tank, and the warmest day of the year, you could technically almost drain those tanks and the system would run fine. And in the wintertime, you don't want to add more water because that's when those tanks are going to be filling up because of the higher pressure in the water itself. Is that correct?
That's correct, but you do lose. It's not your whole system
Loses.
has leaks.
Okay.
Not anything that's visible, mostly air, but that takes away your pressure. And
Okay.
that's why when we looked at this morning, when we first got here, it was barely reading
3 degrees.
three pounds.
Okay.
And that's normal. So that's why it is kind of good to have these checked, periodically.
Okay.
Another way you can find out is when the tenants, especially the higher floors, all of a sudden the radiators aren't really hot. Well, that's telling you don't have enough water in the system. It's just not reaching up there, or it's not reaching up to full capacity, to where the radiator is full. The other thing that's usually done in the fall is that the radiators are bled. So then where you're trying to get most of the air out of the system, and it's just filled with water. But like I say, with some losing water during the season, you can get air back into the system, and then that's when you can get a radiator not working, to complete.
Okay. How do the furnaces the boilers look themselves as far as the burn units in the boilers? Do you have any ability of looking at that, or
I'm not that.
technical?
Yeah.
Okay.